Plot Chronicles, what a wonderful thing. We've gotten beans in the ground, we got corn in the ground, we got our green monster for access, and now it's time to protect the prize. The prize is our beans. If you guys have followed us before, you know that these beans, as soon as they come out of the ground, the deer want to eat them. Well, if you want any beans for the winter time, we can't have that. So it's time to erect an electric fence. Seems crazy, right? It's a lot of work just for a deer. But as Dino always says, come November and December, when you've got a field full of beans, which equals a field full of deer, you're gonna be happy that you put in that extra effort right now. What up, ladies and gents? It is June 23rd. We've got about 2 weeks since we've planted, and this stuff just came up. I accidentally planted a little bit too deep, and so it came up a little bit late. Not a big deal for the beans. You can see it's coming up perfect. We got rows everywhere. It's in here nice and thick, but this is only an acre right here. And if you've ever grown soybeans, you know if you only have an acre and you're in a high density deer area like we are, you're not gonna have any beans late, you know, in the hunting season. They'll browse them throughout the summer, but they usually can never even get big enough to produce anything because these deer just hammer them, including the woodchucks. So, on this episode of Plot Chronicles, I will be protecting our stand here, protecting our beans, and I am gonna put an electric fence around majority of this field, at least this big center portion where all the beans are, and then on the outside of it, there's gonna be some beans growing on the outside, but the deer are gonna browse them down. And then in the fall here, or actually, sorry, in about a month, we're gonna come through, we'll re-till the whole outer edge of it, which comes out to like almost another 2 acres, and that'll just be turnips. So turnips, radishes, a nice blend from white gold, we're excited to put in, but this is gonna be a great green to grain smorgasbord here come fall. But right now this is a pain in the butt job, but it is well worth it. Once you buy the fence and you get everything you need, it's just an investment, so you really don't need anything in future years. Occasionally you'll run out of the fence clips to hold the wire. You might need a little bit of wire here and there with deer run through it and they kind of jack it up, but that's the kind of the inexpensive stuff. Once you have the T-posts and energizer and a couple of the main things, it's just an investment of time at that point. So it's well worth it. We've done it for 3 or 4 years now, and it's worked like a charm. So I got to go through, lay out all these T-posts around this field, make sure they're in good even spots, pound them in the ground, and then I'll go on the outside and I'll put these little fence stakes in for the outer fence. We'll go match those up with all the posts around the outside, and then I'll start stringing the fence. So just to give you guys an idea, this field, so the field total is probably close to an acre, but what I'm actually fencing in is a little less than that. It's probably more like 3/4 of an acre. Bought all this material from Tractor Supply, and this size, I have 17 T-posts out, and then you usually need one extra one for the energizer. You don't need one, you can hang it on anything, but I like to put an extra one in to zip tie the energizer too, so it's off the ground. But I got everything spaced out probably about as much as it could. You could probably lose one here or there if you wanted to, but you start getting less support on your wires after that. But if anyone's looking to put an electric fence up and you want to buy your own stuff, don't want to buy a kit, you can just go to Tractor Supply, buy 16 to 20 T-posts, and then same amount, maybe 18 to 20 of these little ribbon electric fence stakes, and that should be enough to get you going for about an acre. Just got all the posts up, all these little electric fence posts up, and now it's time to start wiring. All right, we're making our final ties with our wire. We got 2 inside wires on this inside fence, and then I got an outside wire, which is probably the most important one. That's the one that needs to be hot because the deer will come up and nose it. and that's how they are alerted that it's an electric fence and they shouldn't even touch the inner one. You can actually get away with not using an electric fence on the inside and just having it on the outside, but this is a super pressured area and the deer terrorize this fence. So anytime you run out of wire, and you just tie a knot in the wire just like that, and then what you're going to do is strip the ends of that tie, and then you'll tie the steel together in a loop just to make the circuit. But all you got to do is tie it in a normal knot, and then we're going to come wrap this up here, fasten it in there. Looks pretty good. It's pretty stretched along the fence there. Okay. And honestly, these outside wires are a little tough with the tape wire. You got to burn it to strip it. It's kind of a pain in the butt, but you just kind of burn a little hole in it. And once it's melted, you could literally just take the end of it and you just pull it right off like that. And then you got the wires exposed. Simple as that. So you got the two wires. And you're just gonna tie them together. I actually have one more I gotta do on the outside of the fence, and then we'll expose our ends. All right, real simple, ladies and gents. We got this, get these little, it's a little dirty, but these little tote bins at like Home Depot, just to protect the battery. Battery sits right in there. Just your Interstate 12 volt. This is actually a deep cycle marine battery. Get longevity out of it, and just make sure they're fully charged. Fully charged, they're honestly lasting a long time regardless. But we have these bad boys, 12 volt solar trickle charger, and it just stands up just like a picture, frame. Just stands up, will face the sun, and it'll trickle charge the battery all summer long. It will literally last all summer long. So there's that. Energizer just hooks to the positive and negative on the battery. Okay. So at this moment in time, what do? Is take these off. We're gonna tie literally all of our fences together. We're all set. All right, folks. I had to improvise. I had to pull a ground wire off of another unit, but so I'll go get another one. So it looks like there's a lot going on, but it's actually pretty simple. We got our 12 volt solar trickle charger. We got our Interstate deep cycle battery fully charged. Our little tote from Home Depot that I'll put the cap on here in a minute. We got an upper fence inside, lower fence inside, and then this outer tape wire fence, which is very visible to the deer. And those 6 wires are just hooked up to the fence side, and then I got a ground wire hooked up to this ground rod right here. Fence is popping. You can hear it popping. Sorry it's getting a little dark, but fence number 1 is up. That feels good to get done. I wanted to get one of them done today, and I did. It's getting dark. It's almost 9 o'clock, but we got her done. And the beans are just coming up. They are just starting to browse on them. Like, they are just starting to browse on them. There's a couple spots where they already started hammering. So literally, I couldn't have got this fence up at a better time. Almost could have got it up sooner, but that's okay. We're up and rolling. This is the most important field because this is the one they hit the most. I'm just gonna test it with our little, oh yeah. See that? This little voltage tester is nice, but I could feel it popping on the outside of this thing. We got a full power battery, full power fence going. Perfect setup. Perfect setup. I tell you what, these fences are no joke. They are no joke. With one person, you gotta make, the thing is, you just gotta make a lot of trips around the field. You gotta go lay all the posts out. That's the smart thing to do. And then you gotta go back around, hammer them all in. And then you gotta take your outside wire fence and walk that all the way around the field. So that's a handful of trips around the field already. And then you gotta take one string around the field, and then the next string around the field, and then the outside string around the field. And then you probably gotta go around again just to make sure everything's tight, check it all. A lot of miles on, but like I said, it's always worth it. So right now, the most annoying part to me is putting out the heavy T-posts, because you get 6, 7 of them in your hand, it starts getting heavy and awkward to carry them. So, and the way we have it set up is we like to leave, it creates more work, it does, but we like to leave a little bit of beans on the outside of the fence. I don't know if it works or not, but what we feel is that at least gives deer beans to browse on outside the fence, so they kind of leave what's in the fence alone. You gotta keep up with the fences regardless, but if you can leave some food outside the fence, it at least gives the deer a little bit of an excuse not to need to go in the fence. So hard part's done, T-posts are out. Now I gotta go through and hammer them all in. Actually, that's probably the hard part. Damn it. I'm just going through and putting the final touches on this one, raising and lowering some of the fence clips just to make sure it's spaced out how I want it spaced out. The outside fence kind of in between the two inner ones. And you know what, as the beans grow, we got some corn around, as the beans and stuff grow, we usually raise them up, just so they're not touching any of the beans and shorting out or anything like that. But I think both of these, I used a little bit more material than I did last year. I got a little bit more area we blocked off this year, made this one a little bit bigger. Just trying to protect all the beans that I can. One final pass around, and then we'll turn her hot, and we should be good to go. Like I said, they just started browsing some beans here and there, and when I made the mistake of planted them a little deeper than I wanted to. We still have some beans that are literally just popping through. So this field already looks really good, and hope it'll get a little bit thicker, I'm assuming, just by some of these beans that were a little deep just coming up. But yep, we're full power. All right, that feels great. Both fences are in. All wires are hot. We got a circuit. The beans should be good to go in there. The deer, occasionally you'll get a deer coming in and out of there that finds their way in, but majority of them should stay out. And that's how we keep the critters out. Now we got to do some gopher hunting to stop them from eating the beans. But one thing I've noticed that's helped in our other field, and I'm gonna go get one for this field, because these crows and stuff are eating a lot of the corn sprouts that are coming up. But I'm just gonna go get a owl decoy and set them on the post right there. It just, eventually the critters get used to it, but for a couple weeks it could do enough to keep things out of there, to let the corn get up and grow. Once it gets to a certain spot, they don't bother it anymore. But fences are up. That feels very good. And now wait about, I don't know, a week and a half or so, and we'll come in and spray the beans, spray the corn where we need to, and then really gonna start honing in on trail cameras, and we'll start shifting our focus a little bit towards our fall food plots. So, whew, been a lot of work.
Listen, don't touch the beans. We've got 2 electric fences fully erect. The power is on, and they're doing their best to keep the deer off these beans. But we found out the hard way that there is nothing foolproof. The beans are protected. Dino can sleep a little better at night now. Now we just need the weather to cooperate. We need a little rain, and then we need a little sun. And then we need a little rain, and then we need a little sun. Mother Nature, just do it. Just do it. Next week, we will be showing progress on the beans and corn, and we are one day closer to bow season, my friends. That's a good thing. Don't forget it. Right back here, Friday, for Plot Chronicles.